Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Collect-A-Clicks Nation. Today, even though Ferdinand is showing up on the screen at the moment, we're going to be talking about the 200-point super rare Hulk from Avengers Forever. Now, this is a very popular piece. Everybody loves the Hulk, and I don't know if we've had a character dial that looked more like the character than this one. Like this dial just reads Hulk. Hulk smash. It just, he gets angrier, but, he doesn't move as fast or, he just can't, he just gets angrier and he hits harder and everything as he goes down the dial. But towards the back end of it, just like the Hulk, he starts to slow down a little bit. But throughout the whole dial, he's extremely strong, just like the Hulk. This dial is perfect for any Hulk lover, and I honestly love it. Um, but for me, at the high level of meta play, I wouldn't build around this guy. But Hulk's also not my favorite character. I know he's a lot of your guys' favorite character, so we're gonna try building around him. And when you start building around a piece, you really just need to look at what they do very well. You know, the Hulk has a very high defense with the defender's team ability. That's something that you can take advantage of because I think there's only two pieces in the meta right now that have the defender's team ability with a 19 on top dial, and it is him and Iron Hammer. I may be wrong. Arachnite might have a 19 or something like that, but as far as I'm aware, off the top of my head, Hulk and Iron Hammer are the only two with a 19 defender's team ability. Let me actually look at Arachnite real fast because he might be a piece that we throw on here. He doesn't start with a 19, right? He's got to be hit down to his 19. Iron Hammer starts with the 19. Who else is a defender in Avengers Forever? Soldier Supreme. He's really low on the defense. So not him. Ghost Panther is also very low on defense. So yeah, you're really only looking at Hulk and Iron Hammer for that 19 defenders team ability. And that's, really good. And it's something that we can take advantage of here in our team build. Um, Another thing that he does very well is he's a lot of points. And that's the great thing about tent poles and OMAs. There are a lot of points. So unless your opponent's able to score him, as long as you're able to keep him alive, there's a good chance you're going to win that game. Uh, I mean, your opponent has 100 points. That's probably going to be fairly easy to take out because it's just your support pieces and everything. But as long as the Hulk can pay for half of his points throughout your, 40 to 50 minute long game, you're probably going to win. And it's actually fairly simple to keep him alive. He's got 3 stop clicks, a high defense, invincible, and impervious that reduces penetrating damage on 4 through 6 on each of his stop clicks. Some of the issues that I see right off the bat is he's not protected outwit unless he's on a stop click. Um, his gamma clap can only happen once per range attack. I read that wrong. It's once per range attack. So it's okay. So when I initially looked at this piece, right, I thought it was once per turn per range attack, but it's only once per range attack. Okay, this just got so much better. Once per range attack. So you kind of want to keep your opponent at range. I'm assuming, right? Or you want to draw them in so that you can get within range of them. I feel like you really want to keep them at range, take advantage of his knockback with his super strength, and barrier up, or I mean, you could rely on stealth and just draw them in, but I feel like keeping them at range and trying to make them hit those range attacks is probably the way to go. So that's something that he does extremely well, a lot better than I thought when I had started making this video. I can't read sometimes, and sometimes all the game is reading the damn card, and that's on me. I apologize, but that's an insanely powerful ability, insanely powerful trait that we do need to take advantage of, along with the 19 defenders. And some pieces to think about when you're looking at the defenders team ability or copying team abilities in general, especially with the Avengers team ability or theme the Avengers keyword being a theme team viability option. Two characters are Hope Summers and the Manifold from X's Swords OP event. Manifold comes in at 30, Hope Summers comes in at 40, and Hope Summers is basically a pick a power piece with enhancement and leadership and mastermind on top dial. And then Manifold is a taxi. So you can carry all the rest of your other support pieces. He carries two characters. Let me actually pull him up here. I'm going off the top of my head here. Sorry about that. But I've played around with Avengers a lot, so I know what these characters do very well. Hope Summers, let's go ahead and add her here so you can see this. Um, she does have combat reflexes and stealth top dials, so you can really take advantage of, just hiding behind Hope Summers. Except you can't because Hulk is a giant. Ooh, that's something he doesn't do very well. So we'll have to look at that. And then, but I mean, you want to keep them at range anyways, right? Yeah, okay, so being a giant might actually play in his favor because he's able to hit from 2 squares away. He can knock back 5. I guess the max for knockback is 3 squares. Okay, so maybe what if we looked at Ducky Deadpool from X of Swords? He doesn't share any keywords, but at 200 points for your main figure, you don't really necessarily want to go theme. And going non-theme opens us up to a whole wide variety of options. And Ducky Deadpool, adjacent friendly characters have the dolphin symbol and free generate up to 4 water terrain markers in squares within range and line of fire. So he can give the Hulk the ducky symbol if need be, and then place him in the water. What other benefits do you get for being in water terrain with the ducky symbol? Let's go to, I don't have it here. So you go to heroclix.com and let's look at some rules because that seems to be like half of team building is looking at rules and trying to understand how this game plays because a lot of times you'll run across something that you haven't played in a long time and you have to go back and look at it. So let's try the pack first for the dolphin symbol. What all do we get for the dolphin symbol? So swim. If a character occupies water terrain, it can't be targeted by characters unless they are within 4 squares. Okay, so that's what I thought. I want to see if we got a benefit to movement or anything like that, any additional benefit. That might have been an old ruling. Anyways, so we could give him the dolphin symbol, make it so that he can't be hit from range. They have to come up close within his charge range because his charge range and his hypersonic speed range is always going to be 6. Unless you get a perplex, which you do get a perplex with Dipple. Let's throw him up here. He might be an option. He's got team players, so we can copy defenders, grab on that 19 defense with super senses. Okay, so that might be a play. And then another thing I was thinking about is if there's some way to heal Hulk off of his stop clicks without using regeneration. And I think the best option we have for like a straight up support piece right now is Ferdinand. He takes a power action and chooses an adjacent friendly character and rolls a d6 and then heals that character equal to half the result. So it's not regeneration or support. So Hulk would heal the full 3 or the full 2 if he um, got that from Ferdinand instead of taking a power action himself to roll the d6 and reducing the number by 1. So I feel like Ferdinand, if you want to go that route, would also be decent. He comes in at 30 points. And I wouldn't pay attention at this point total down here. We're just playing around right now, looking at all the things that Hulk does well and how we can mess around with that and add to it. And this is kind of ad-libbed. I really wanted to take you guys through a team building process that I go through. This is just the initial step, right? The initial step of How does this piece work? How does this piece work? And then later I'll play test with it, and I'll show some of that video here tonight. I'll play test with it and then figure out what works and what doesn't, what I can take advantage of, and during a game against which pieces, things along those lines. But taking advantage of the giant symbol and knockback, I feel like is extremely powerful with Deadpool's water terrain, making him a dolphin as well. Okay. So how can we keep people from getting up close to him? I think Unis the Untouchable is one of the best ones. He comes in at 50. Let's add him over here. He's very good. If you guys don't know what Unis the Untouchable does, is he's a legacy carded piece from Mutants, Mutant Mayhem or something like that. I don't know. But he was a unique back in the day. His special on defense is impervious and super senses, and then once per action, when an opposing character would move or be placed into a square within Unis the Untouchable's range, they must roll a d6. 1 through 3, that character can't be moved or placed into any square within Unis the Untouchable's range this turn. So it's a 50-50 shot whether or not they're able to come up into your grill. And that, coupled with Deadpool, is something that's always been a threat, but nobody's really played it yet. Because Deadpool pairs so well with things like Venom Magneto, who already says that you can't target within 4. Things along those lines. So I feel like these two could be extremely strong together, but then that's your whole build, right? That's 290, then you have 10 points left. Ah, man, and 10 points isn't a lot. So that's a route you could go. I don't know if that's the right one. You're really, really taking advantage of just Hulk being not really taking advantage of the range thing though. I feel like taking advantage of the range thing would be huge. If your attack roll, if your roll is greater than the attacker's finalized roll. So, maybe we don't play with a high defense so that they don't have to roll high. No, you play with it. You play with the high defense because this is just an added benefit. So maybe the Gamma Clap, we just forget that. But if we forget that, then Deadpool and Unis the Untouchables the play. Because then that keeps everybody away from you. And there's really no way to give Hulk full map reach, so you're not going to really alpha with this guy. You could play Venom Mags with him, but Venom Magneto's probably going to die. Would he though? You play Venom Magneto, Deadpool, that's 275. Left with 25 points to play with. So Collector? Collector, Deadpool, and Venom Magneto. Is that the play? Because it does take a lot to kill Collector. Deadpool's going to have a 19 defense with his senses. You have the ability to alpha, especially with the Perplex here, and Venom Magneto. Right, because 12 plus 7 is 19. Plus the 2, because you start on square 2, so plus 12 is 14, plus 7 is 21, hitting on 23. So you're hitting their front line, because he's a giant, with a perplex into movement. So you do have the ability to alpha. Not that you ever would. I feel like you want to keep Hulk back and then just wait for your opponent to come to you. So Unis the Untouchable's out because you kind of want your opponent to come in and try to find a way to hit him. I feel like that's kind of how you have to play any piece that's 200 points. You really don't want to throw them into the middle of it just so they don't get swarmed by attackers. And you don't want to throw him up close into the action because he wants to be hit from range. And if he wants to be hit from range, let's take out Hope Summers from here and Ferdinand. If he wants to be hit from range, then why is Ducky Deadpool the play? Because they have to come within 4 to hit him from range. I might cut this video and then edit, but I don't know. You guys tell me. Do you like listening to me? Go over my thought process out loud with you, or would you rather it be cut and dry, cut and simple? Here's what works, right? And I'm going to cut this at some point when I go off to playtest, but I want to get your guys' input. Would you rather listen to me talk about my thought process when I'm throwing stuff into here, or would you rather uh, just tell you what I tried and then what worked? So this might be the first thing I try. Hulk with Deadpool, Venom, Magneto, and the Collector. Everyone would get +1 to damage, so Deadpool suddenly becomes a decent attacker, 10 for 4. Venom Magneto, 10 for 3. I really like Collector with Hope Summers, but, I mean, with Deadpool, it's just as well. 5 range. And I feel like you're getting so much more from Deadpool than you would from Hope Summers on this team, on a team with Hulk. Okay, so I'm going to cut this out, and then I'm going to go playtest, and I will screen capture that, and then go over it over the top with a voice recording. Okay, guys, I'm back from playtesting. I didn't spend too much time. I spent about an hour playtesting with this build. The more I build unthemed, the more I'm sure that you need Felix Faust and Molecule Man on an unthemed build. Ducky Deadpool is very good. Don't get me wrong. He just didn't do everything that I wanted him to do. Um, I mean, he survived an attack from Apocalypse, but that's not always going to happen. It's just a regular D6 roll for the super senses, so I feel like he's going to die fairly quickly just because it's Deadpool, and if they're able to get up close, he is going to be their main target so that the range attackers can come in on him. So Deadpool is kind of the weakness of the team. That 19 defense only goes so far. If your opponent's rolling hot, he's going to hit that for sure. So I started this out just let's backtrack real fast. I'd started out um, going up against an Apocalypse Genesis duo team with Scarab and Death Metal Wonder Woman. And this combo is very dangerous for Hulk because you really only have one attacker. Deadpool can do some stuff, but he's only hitting with a 10, and if they have a rollout, he's got no way to get around that. But besides him and Hulk, you don't really have an attacker on this force. So it's not optimal, especially with the Soul Sword and the Stop Clicks and Death Metal Wonder Woman. So with this build, I would say get into your opponent's backline. I did not do that, but I definitely had the ability to with Venom Magneto and the Hulk. That being said, I realized on turn 3 that I had no way for Venom Magneto to get up there for his second TK, so instead of Collector, I'd probably run Star Sapphire at 25 points or another flyer to carry Venom Magneto up. That's my misplay, and that's how I would change this build if you wanted to go the Collector route. Now, the build that did end up getting into a winning position against Genesis and Apocalypse is the Hulk, Felix Faust, Molecule Man, and Venom Magneto. And the Felix Faust Venom and Molecule Man duo is so strong because of Felix's Faust PC and his 8 range to stop my opponents from PCing. Uh, Venom Magneto even crit missed during my initial team gameplay, and I had no way to re-roll that because I'm not a theme team or anything like that. So I feel like you need PC on the team. So maybe some sort of flyer with PC instead of collector, just to make sure you don't crit miss. Nothing feels worse than crit missing with your Venom Magneto because when you're attacking with Venom Magneto, you're usually down to your last attacker. So I didn't, I just feel like Felix Faust is a must play for unthemed teams just to have that PC and to shut off your opponent's PC. He's incredibly strong, so unthemed, it's usually going to be Felix Faust and Molecule Man. I hate to say it because that's so easy, right? I only have 100 points to build with, and there's 60 of them, so now I'm down to 40. The final build for me would be Hulk and those two with Venom Mags, and you're still left with 5 points. So, you could go with a Plastic Man object or a map bonus or the cloak on Felix Faust even, or something along those lines just to make it a little more competitive. I would even suggest the pumpkin bombs on Felix Faust to give him some way to deal mass damage to your opponent with his pen psych and energy explosion from the bombs. But that's the team that worked, guys. It worked for me. Like I said, if you do decide to go the original route that we laid out with Ducky Deadpool, it probably could work with more playtesting. But if you do end up going up against a don't die team like this with a bunch of stop clicks and ways to heal off of them, I would encourage you to go into their back line and go after their weaker pieces that don't have stop clicks, pieces that only have one rollout or something along those lines. Now, in the second build, Hulk got hit down to his Battle Fury, and this, I don't know if your opponent would actually do this, but I don't know Hulk well enough. I didn't look at I wasn't looking at his card when I was making my attacks, but I had Jubilee cross the board and hit the Hulk for 4 damage, 2 after his invincible, and put him onto his Battle Fury clicks, where Venom Magneto was able to TK him into position to kill um, Jubilee with a light object. So Venom Magneto is definitely a great play with Hulk just to get that free TK, get him into position because he does only have a 6 movement with his charge. So I feel like Venom Magneto is a must play. And then Felix Faust is a must play on Unthemed. And then Molecule Man is just the best barrier piece in the game. Now you could go Ducky Deadpool instead of Molecule Man, and that might be the best version. Um, I did not play around with that. I only have a limited amount of time to play test at the moment, and I want to get this video out to you quickly. But those are the results that I came up with. If you guys have any additional ideas, please put them in the comments below. I know one popular idea is throwing Hulk on with Soldier Supreme so that you can get both of their rollouts. But, I just feel like Soldier Supreme is 75 points. That's not really helping you in any other way than that rollout. And if your opponent's rolling hot, you're going to have a bad day. And I just don't trust that at all. Those were my takeaways, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, enjoyed watching the gameplay, and got some new ideas for yourselves on how to play with Hulk. There is a argument to be made for running theme team with Avengers. I didn't play around with that too much. I went straight for unthemed. I just felt like that was the right play with a 200-point piece. But if you want to run Avengers, then Hope Summers and Manifold are probably your best bet with another 30-point piece like Mr. Fantastic or um, this common Scarlet Witch from War of the Realms, something along those lines to give you an extra TK. That about wraps it up for me. If you guys have any additional ideas, please put them down in the comments. Help everybody learn more about this piece and how best to use it. I know a lot of people are excited about it. You guys all have a great week, a great weekend, and enjoy your holidays. Peace.